What's up YouTube, Honeybee here, bringing you a new Mortal Kombat 11 video, and in this video we're going to be talking about D'Vorah and what makes her Arachnophobia variation not only better than her first Buzz tournament variation, but what makes it an actual good variation to use in just any kind of play in general, and just let's go over that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the obvious stuff. So the first thing that's obvious about what makes Arachnophobia better than Buzz is the fact that she has access to a throw crushing blow. Now the way this throw crushing blow works, for those of you that haven't already seen my breakdown of the patch updates on D'Vorah, the way this throw crushing blow works is she needs to have a Firefly stacked onto the opponent, and as soon as a Firefly is stacked on the opponent, then she has access to a forward throw crushing blow. So you can stack these flies a couple different ways. In her Arachnophobia variation though, there's only two ways to stack these flies. The first is to hit them with a projectile. As you can see, when I hit her, a fly will transfer over to her. Obviously, since it's D'Vorah versus D'Vorah, she's going to have a crap ton of flies on her. Like, if I put all of these, she's going to have 10 flies, but 5 for mine and 5 for hers. But either way, more flies that stack means more damage for the crushing blow throw. If I crushing blow throw right now, you can see that it did 37%, and this is because it does 27% base and then 2% extra for every fly that's on D'Vorah. And the quickest way to stack these flies is to actually do an amplified swarm, because all 5 flies will transfer at once. Otherwise, only 1 fly will transfer at a time. Now, what makes this so good is that now in this variation of D'Vorah, whenever I zone with these flies, there's actually like more of a risk associated with the opponent getting hit now than there is in the buzzed variation. Whereas in the buzz variation, if you get hit by this, it's just a 6% hit, and that's it. So generally, if you do hit someone with this in her other variation, you're only getting that 6%, and usually you're probably going to take damage from like a projectile trade from the opponent, because every character in MK11 has a projectile outside of like Jackie Briggs' first round KO variation. But like basically every character can shoot projectiles, and every projectile is more threatening than this, except when the bugs are going to start transferring. Because when the bugs are transferring, now you're giving her access to a crushing blow, and you're giving her access to her deadly swarm ability, which is to actually call back the bugs. And each bug that's attached to the opponent will do a 3%. So if all 5 are attached and you call them back, that's 15% damage. Now, these aren't exactly guaranteed 15% because it can be blocked. As you can see right now, if I call it back, it's saying 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, everything's doing 3%, so that's 15%. Whereas if the opponent were to block, so if she's blocking and I call it back, it's doing 13.75 for each instead of a 30 for each. So it's essentially doing a little bit less than half. I believe if they block, they can take they'll take about 7% or so instead of taking the 15%. But either way, it's going to be 7% guaranteed unescapable damage if you have all 5 bugs on there. You might not have all 5 towards the end of the round, but it's very possible that you could have like 2 or 3 and call those back, and that's a very dangerous thing. It's essentially like kind of like Black Adam's trait in Injustice 2, where it was kind of like free damage, but you just have to have them set up. Now, the only way to get rid of these bugs, there's 2 ways to get rid of these bugs. Either if I try to throw and the throw is teched, then the bugs will go away and I'll go back to D'Vorah. Or if I do a fatal blow or my opponent does a fatal blow, then the bugs will go back to D'Vorah. Other than that, they're going to stay. They stay between rounds, they stay after crushing blows, like the bugs are always going to be there. So this whole thing of having the bugs stacked, being able to call them back, and having access to the crushing blow that can do anywhere from 29 to 37% damage. It's a really big thing for Arachnophobia that Buzzed just doesn't have access to. And now the next thing that's very obvious that I'm going to talk about is her teleport. Now, Arachnophobia always had a teleport before the patch, but they buffed it pretty significantly now. One of the main things is just that now it's much quicker. It's 6 frames quicker. It's 28 startup frames as opposed to when it was 34 startup frames. So now it's actually quite fast. Before it was really slow. So now you can actually do it on reaction to certain projectiles, making her a much bigger threat when it comes to just randomly getting hit by this thing. You can get hit, and it'll be quite fast, and you really just gotta look out for it. Not only is this teleport faster now, it also does more damage when you actually hit them with it. You can do a combo such as this, and that's almost 24% for a raw teleport, and you're getting a stack on them that can lead to a crushing blow. You could also do a different kind of combo, something like this. And this could do 25%, but in this situation, you're not going to get that bug stack. So not only is this teleport faster and does more damage, it also can be comboed off of different things that she wasn't able to combo before. For example, forward 1-3 before would not combo into teleport, but now it does. And that's a huge buff for her because forward 1 is now it's a 12 frame high. It used to be 15 frames, so it's a pretty decently fast high, and it has a pretty good range on it. As you can see, it's gonna hit them right from around there, and you can hit confirm that into this teleport, and now you can get some pretty good damage. You can actually get more damage now in the Arachnophobia variation than the Buzz one because of this teleport. For example, you're getting 29% there. You can even get about 31% with Devora if you do something like this, which is really good damage. 31% compared to in a Buzz, where generally your combos are going to do something more along the lines of 27, 28, 29%. That would be a general combo that you would do in Buzz variation for like 28.5 to 29%. The thing is, in the Buzz variation, Devora is probably going to end up dropping like the combos early so that she can set up a bug. And if she does that, she's sacrificing like 6 to 7% just to get the bug out. She does get some pretty solid Oki from the bug, because in this variation she could do something like this into like a throw, and then she could follow up, and now you've lost about like 40% of your health. But the throw, it's kind of obvious. People will like down 2 crushing blow you out of it, and then you just wasted your resources and now you're getting comboed. It's a lot safer to just do stuff with the Arachnophobia with guaranteed stands and doing other things like that. Something else that's really nice for Devora is that her 2-1 string in Buzzed variation is not very useful. You can't really do much with it, but in the Arachnophobia variation she can actually combo this into teleport, and this is a really big deal because of 2 main situations. The first is that her ovipositor on hit, if we show you here, Catabo Rush, it's 13 frames of hit advantage, and the stand 2 is 11 frames. Now that the AI is ducking, we can see that if I use this attack, it's a high. But after Catapult Rush, I'm plus 13 and I'm doing an 11 frame high. So the 11 frame high is actually going to jail. So you can get some pretty nice damage now off of a hit confirmable high, off of either the ovipositor on hit, or you can also do this off of her down 3 on hit, which is also a really nice buff that they had for her. The down 3 on hit has 13 frames of hit advantage. Before it was only 1 frame of hit advantage. You can do something like this, and that'll connect, and then you can hit confirm that into a full combo. If they're trying to mash or do anything, that will hit, and then you can hit confirm that. In the Buzz variation, she doesn't really have much of a use for this string, whereas in Arachnophobia, she can actually use this as a hit confirmable string, and you can get some pretty good damage off of it. Some other stuff that she gets in Arachnophobia is just better damage output. In general, midstream, you can do something like this. and you can get an easy 37% for 2 bars, which is really, really good. She never had access to stuff like that before. You can also get more damage off of things like this by going into teleport. That's 31.5%. In Buzz variation, you probably only get something more along the lines of this, like 24%, or doing that into a bug setup. So her damage output is definitely better. We can even look at some of her crushing blows. For example, her down 2 crushing blow. In Buzz variation, you'd get a combo like this, like 33%. But in Arachnophobia variation, you could do something like this. And you could get a 39 to 40% combo as opposed to a 33 to 34% combo. So you can get an extra 5% or so damage for a bar, 5 to 6% for a bar, which is really nice. You can even do this off of like her flawless block. In the buzzed variation, if you were to get a flawless block, you do something just like this in buzz variation, you get 19%, or you would cut it short into a setup. You can get a solid 27% in this variation. You can actually get a little bit more if you do a different combo, but some of our other combos are a little bit more tricky to do. That one can get 28%, as opposed to the 19% that you can only get in her first variation. So those are some of the main things that makes Arachnophobia such a strong variation right now. Also, end of round, if you do have this, it is a pretty big deal that if your opponent's down to like 10% or so, that you can just call it back and potentially like take them out with that. It's a really nice thing. But the main things that's making like Arachnophobia a much better variation than Buzz is just the threat of the crushing blow off of having a fly on him. That's a scary thing to deal with. And also it's just the fact that her zoning becomes more scary because she has flies that will attach to you if she actually hits you with her projectiles, and she can react to projectiles, and it's a little bit scary to throw it at her. Even a raw teleport can get you like 25 to 24% based on what ender you want to use. So it is definitely scary to try to zone her out. Let's take a look at her corner damage here. I could do something like this for 2 bars to get 33% and have all these flies stuck on you. And that's a really scary thing. You never want all 5 flies stuck on you, and then at that point you get grabbed, you can take 37% for a crushing blow. So that's definitely something scary that you really don't want to be dealing with. So yeah, Arachnophobia, guys, it's the new wave. I do think it is going to be her best variation. Obviously, it's a little bit early right now to say where Devora stands in terms of an actual tier list, but she's definitely a solid character now. She does still struggle from not having a strong fast mid, but it does make up for it with the fact that her down 3 will now jail into stuff like her stand 1, jail into her stand 2, you know, like that's all. Even her forward 1, like the down 3 will jail into all these moves, so it becomes very, very useful. And if the opponent just wants to mash buttons because you don't have a strong mid, all you have to do is hit them with the down 3, and now you can enforce any kind of pressure that you want to enforce. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for checking it out, and I'll see you guys next time.